Circle Pines, the site tonight in Centennial High School as a new season gets underway in girls soccer. It's number 6 Centennial taking on their section and conference rival, the Coon Rapids Cardinals. Sam Ekstrom alongside Blythe Whaley, and this is a great way to kick it off, Blythe. We've got rivals that, meet on an annual basis, a great team in Centennial that thinks they could have won it all last year, weren't able to compete in the state tournament due to the pandemic, and here they are back again with another great team.
Yeah, both these teams. You can feel the excitement down there on the field before this game, knowing that today's the day. Dust off those cleats and get back out there on the turf.
Coon Rapids last season, 3-8-1. They're coached by John Kieran in his 3rd season, and a new coach on the other side, Krista Carlson. Blythe, you talked to her before the game. She replaces Ginger Flohog, and she inherits a really good bunch that last season went 13-1.
Yeah, huge shoes to fill. Ginger Flohog having 20 years here with the Cougars and now giving over this team who really has a stacked senior class, bringing a lot of those players back. And one of those notable today, probably Lauren Allis, who has had such a great contribution over the years. And I'm sure tonight won't be any different.
And a number of future college players on that Centennial squad as well. Both teams senior heavy with 10 seniors, and we might see multiple goalies on both sides of the ledger. For Coon Rapids, they'll send Bailey Payne out to start in her first year as a goaltender. And Jordan Metz, the sophomore, will get the start for Centennial. But we might see backup goaltenders in the second half as we're underway in this one. Centennial wears red here at home, where they only lost one game last season against Champlain Park. It was their lone loss of the year, as they won the Section 7 title 2-0 over Blaine, ending their season with a win. The previous year, they lost in the state championship game, and they had hopes of getting revenge at that level, but they weren't able to participate because the state tournament was called off. There's a ball spinning out on the near side. Coon Rapids, tough times of late, but a phenomenal program history, 15 state tournament appearances. In possession of it, Brooklyn Bordson, who's headed to USD to play for the Coyotes next year in Vermilion, South Dakota. Throw in here for Coon Rapids. Well, Blythe, it's always a game of getting your footing in the opening minutes of the season, get the nerves out, and the atmosphere actually pretty calm out here. It was stormy earlier today, thunderstorms, and crazy rain showers, but extremely calm and comfortable right now.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of that in between, supposedly more storms later tonight. So these ladies wanting to make sure they get in, leave it all out on the turf, because who knows in these games if it could end as we get later on in this one. So want to get yourself in good position in these early minutes and going throughout this game.
Yeah, the boys' game certainly could be threatened with showers coming. And hopefully this girls' game is played uninterrupted by weather as Centennial makes its first run downfield. Marissa Frost cuts it back to the middle, has it dislodged and popped in the air. Frost gains possession. Cougars looking for goal number 1 on the season. Trying for their first shot of the season. It's Frost, corner of the 18-yard box with a cross and a deflection. Booted back to Sydney Cubes on net, one hop, and in the possession of Bailey Payne, the senior goaltender.
Bailey Payne doing a good job keeping that clean slate early on here. And when you look at that back line here for Coon Rapids, these seniors, they've played together for the last 3 years. And so knowing how close they are and that communication is going to be huge in this one, knowing Centennial does have that big attack when they get in the final third.
Yeah, these senior-heavy teams with a lot of returning experience, and for Coon Rapids, they actually bring back all of their scoring from last year. Now, it wasn't a lot of scoring. It was only 9 goals scored, but they got all of it back, and expecting improvement on that front. There's a through ball trying to get it over the top, but booted by Anna Kepke, the senior captain defenseman, and that winds up back near midfield.
I always love when defenders know that they can play back that keeper and they feel the confidence in that position, just because how much that opens up the game for them, playing that back, getting that touch and look up the field to be wide open coming from the keep.
Trying to spring one of the forwards there, and it winds up in the possession of Jordan Metz, who touches the ball for the first time. Metz, a sophomore, rolls it out right sideline, and that evades Avery Littlefield, the senior. A toss in here for the Cardinals. Kostick got it into Terabeza. Poked away by Stevenson and taken back by the Cougars with some pace. Good play, stepping in front of that one, Molly Knobloch. Into the corner it goes, and back for Metz.
And that's good. It's keeping Metz engaged, using her player back. It's tough being a keep sometimes. You can go minutes without seeing the ball, and when you can have those moments to just touch it over to them, keep them in it, and with that pace of the game, it's helpful.
Did mention that Coon Rapids brought back 100% of its scoring. Centennial lost 26 goals with one player, Kaya Harper, going to play for the Gophers at the collegiate level, considered the Star Tribune Metro Player of the Year last year. So Centennial trying to replace that offense. Chance here for Lauren Aulis, moving to the middle, and a good defensive play to jar it free, but it stays in the danger zone. Fingertip grab by Bailey Payne, who makes her second good save.
Yeah, Payne gonna have to be on her A game tonight, seeing the Cougars get a few of those shots on net. And she's been able to handle it so far, and that's exactly what Coach Karen needs from her tonight.
Absolutely still conditions, artificial turf, ball rolling true and fast right now. Cougars will have a throw in on the offensive side of the pitch. Avery Littlefield gets it in to Cubes. Cubes has it wander between her legs and now back the other way. Knobloch to midfield, Terabeza. Stepping to it is Allison Hamsky, the Centennial captain. And now to the far side in front of John Karen on the Coon Rapids bench.
Something that I'm liking here from Coon Rapids is just making sure that they are still getting into that attacking half. You see last season what it looked like when these two teams matched up. They lost by 7, but there isn't necessarily that indication here in these early minutes, even though Centennial has had those opportunities on net. It's just not been exactly what that stat sheet looks like from last year.
Addison Van Zee with a nice run up the left wing side, winds up out of bounds, and a throw in there near the flag. It pinballs off of players, corner of the 18-yard box. Defensive play made by Knobloch. Rolled now to Aulis. Aulis looking for possession, can't keep it. And the Cardinals back the other way, but Carolyn Lowinger stepping in front. Right side, Frost. And the offsides flag is raised, and that'll foil the attempt for the Cougars, not even 7 minutes into this first half.
And something I wanted to know when you brought up Aulis. Aulis had 7 goals last season. That was just below Kaya Harper. And you think about what that looks like for her. She also had 13 assists. She's probably used to having the defense play off her a bit, as this one sails over the crossbar, but she's probably used to having the defense play off her a bit because they're more focused on Kaya Harper, and like you said, 26 goals coming at them. And now this season, what does that look like to adjust to that added pressure that these teams are gonna find, knowing that she now probably has that target on her back?
You see the Centennial starters flashing across your screen. Yeah, just because they lost Harper doesn't mean they don't have returning talent. Hamsky, Monson, Aulis, Bordson, and Cubes all with goals on last year's team that averaged a gaudy 5.4 goals per contest, outscoring teams by an average of 4.8 per game, an offensive juggernaut. We've got a pass down the left sideline, and that'll skip away from Malia Bilby, the senior forward. 8 minutes in. Coon Rapids hanging tough. The underdogs, they haven't beaten Centennial since October 8th, 2015. 7 straight wins for Centennial in this rivalry, all of them of the shutout variety. So Coon Rapids trying to get on the board against a perennial powerhouse in the Cougars. And Coon Rapids with some bodies on the offensive side of the field, unable to retain possession. Knobloch out in front for Stevenson, but she won't be able to reach it. Jordan Metz is on the spot to pick it up.
It was a good idea, that build here from Coon Rapids, trying to play up that forward, running through the middle. And that's something that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to take those chances. Sure, it didn't work out that time, but you still have to keep pushing the envelope in the final third.
No good scoring chances for the Cardinals yet. A couple quality shots on goal for the Cougars, who've had a slight edge in the quality of play. Held in there by Cubes along the sideline. She goes down, picked up by Bailey Rao and knocked away from her, back on the other side of midfield. Foul there. We'll wind up with a set piece from almost 45 yards away here for the Cougars.
Centennial, over the years under Coach Ginger Flohog, had some great set pieces and those plays that they made from them. Not necessarily from this far out, but typically this team, you'll probably see them.
Cubes launches it in off the foot of Molly Knobloch. High hop across midfield and out. Played by the head coach as he shouts some instructions.
Yeah, one of the things Coach Karen was wanting to work on throughout this season is just the possession and what that looks like to stay with it throughout the game, knowing his team doesn't always have that as their focus in the years past, and so that's going to be a huge thing. But you see how Centennial has been good overall at possession, and that can be tough with a team like Coon Rapids, trying to get the ball back, trying to have those opportunities to bring it up the field if a team is holding the possession for a lot of those minutes.
Littlefield launches in over the head of Bileby. She steps to it along the sideline. Rolled back from Munson. Now Cubes trying to keep it on her foot. Back for Littlefield. Good stretch of possession here for the Cougars. Finding their passing rhythm as they get it to Aulis. Fending off a defender. Left-footed ball up top, big collision, edge of the box. And that'll bring play to a halt and award possession to Coon Rapids. Here it is again. That'll wake you up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I would say you have to almost do. You're trying to run through that. Yes, ultimately it's going to result in this foul that we're seeing here. But if you're not doing that when you get close on net there, you're going to miss some of those opportunities where maybe you're able to poke it by, because sometimes people are going to try to step away from that contact, and you might be one-on-one with the keep there.
Well, you might hear the pitter-patter of some raindrops. That looked like a handball, and I believe it was. But although there's very little breeze, some rain clouds have blown in. I'm not sure this is going to strengthen too much, but I guess we'll find out. Very soft right now.
I've decided to shy away from bringing up too much weather, because in one of the last games I called the weather, I was like, oh, it looks great. And within 30 seconds, it was downpouring and weather delay and game canceled. So
well, I've successfully jinxed it already with my earlier proclamation. So
as long as I don't do it, then I think we're safe.
Okay, good, good. Well, it's headed the wrong way right now, so let's just not talk about it. There's an over-the-top attempt toward the box, held in by Aulis. Aulis, right foot, good block by Anna Kepke.
And there again might be some of that pressure that I'm talking about, that Kaya Harper isn't here spreading out that defense. Now a couple of those players in Lauren Aulis' way as she tries to make her way towards net.
This will be Aulis from 25 yards out, a little right of center. Her teammates crashing from left to right toward the net. It's on net and caught by Payne. Coon Rapids was a good defensive team last year. They only allowed 2.1 goals per game. So even though they went 3-8-1, it's not like they were getting blown out a lot. They just struggled a bit offensively, trying to find that offensive rhythm now with some older, more mature players. And some talent back. Molly Terabeza had 4 goals last year. Here is Frost. Frost trying to make a move. Gets it back off the ricochet. Brooklyn Bordson to her right. Slams into Emily Snicker, stays with it. Bordson the cross. Bordson with a good ball across the face of the goaltender. Nobody home to hammer it in.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this one again.
Turn the corner well. Almost put it in herself.
That's what I was just thinking. I'm sure she wishes in that moment now. She's like, man, maybe I should have just went for goal.
Centennial threatening but not scoring. Still goose eggs in the opening 14+ minutes. Hamsky drops for Metz. Left sideline. LB to the middle. Ollis stays with it. Gritty play by Ollis and another block out in front. Coon Rapids getting in the way of shooting lanes at the moment. Cougars keep the pressure on. Ollis persists.
Great job splitting the D right there.
Quick shot, good save. Brief bobble there by Payne, but she gobbles it up, denying another chance for Centennial.
And if I was a forward out there, that would be something I'm keeping an eye on now, seeing her bobble a few, knowing that, hey, how can we get on that? She might bobble the next one, possibly going to put that one back for your team.
Cecilia Kostick, 2 assists last year as a freshman, sophomore now, tossed that one in. Terabeza tries to turn with it, stepped in front of by Bordson. They work it backwards to Metz. Oh, an errant pass will give an optimal throw in here for Coon Rapids, all the way up near the top of the box with Cecilia Kostick. Substitutions here. Some of our first of the game. Coon Rapids, Brooke Griffith, the junior, and Anna Langworthy, the sophomore. Isabella Sipe, the freshman, also getting in there for Centennial. They've got a couple freshmen. Coon Rapids has 1 on their roster. Popped up out of danger by Centennial. Ball played around. Coon Rapids looking for a good touch in the threatening part of the field, but it goes back the other way. Cougars attack from left to right. This could be a beauty. Straighting toward the end line, fires it off the side of the net. She just ran out of room.
It didn't quite finish as the Cougars would have hoped, but that build-up looked pretty. You saw Ollis being able to find that outside runner, and that's exactly the ball she needed. Yes, that last touch towards goal, maybe not exactly the angle she needed, even if she was just going to play it across to a teammate. But overall, I think Centennial can continue to build on that.
And that was Strating, who's headed to Winona next year. She comes off the bench and immediately provides a spark. Good poke away there by the Cardinals, trying to get it out of trouble. Liked what I've seen from Molly Knobloch. She's done a lot of good stuff so far in this one. Knobloch, center mid, big contributor last year.
And that's interesting, too, that you note that, of course, she came off the bench. She's able to make that impact here in those first few seconds. And as a coach, she has a new coach. So she's trying to prove to her maybe, hey, what does that look like to give me some more playing time? And if she can prove that impact here, she's going to gain some.
Nice ball in a crowd. Off the head of a Cougar, and Payne recovers to play it. Bailey Payne keeps that one out and away from Addison Van Zee. But I think actually there was a corner kick awarded there. The ball just trickled past that end line.
A big opportunity here for the Cougars, that first corner kick of the day. And typically the team with the most corner kicks is winning the game, so first one here.
Ollis, Bordson, and headed wide. Cardinals again in a precarious spot, but it will be a goal kick. A little bit deceiving here on camera. It's the yellow line, that's the end line, not the back line of the football end zone, which is much more dynamic. So keep your eye on the yellow lines, signifying the soccer outline.
And to clarify what I was saying there too, is just that team with the most corner kicks, typically why they're saying they're winning the game, is just that possession and how tough they've had to play to get to that point on the field.
Knobloch to Langworthy. Nudged in the back, down she goes, and a scoring chance potentially here for Coon Rapids.
This is big. Treat this like a corner kick. Get everybody up, push them in. Just outside the box there.
Avery Littlefield with the infraction. In a sun shower right now with some rain still coming down.
It's got to feel good if you're playing now. I remember in temperatures when people would think it was somewhat cold, and I'd be like, yes, bring on the rain after you're running for a bit.
Knobloch chips it up and into the hands of Metz. Good effort, and Metz with the save.
And how can Coon Rapids build on that, get some motivation from getting that opportunity there on net, making Metz have to pull it out of the air?
Might have been the most threatening position Metz has found herself in so far in the first quarter of this game. As we move under the 20-minute mark in the first half, Centennial yet to strike against a team that they've shut out 7 times in a row, including 2 playoff wins in 2015 and 16. Centennial, during that span, winning a state championship in 2016 over Rosemount. 2 championships all time for Coon Rapids, though, 1985, 1987. Have not been to a state tournament since 2008, a 13-year drought that John Caron is trying to end. He was voted the Section 7 Coach of the Year last year.
Yeah, in just 3 years at Coon Rapids, he's had quite a bit of experience overall, 32 years prior to being here. But definitely it shows, of course, with what you're saying.
Good takeaway. Sipe passed it off to Bordson. Launched in by Littlefield. One hop and Payne again. She's been good. It's her first year as a goaltender. She played as an offensive player last year, scored a goal. And if they do alternate goaltenders, we might see Payne on the field, trying to get the ball into the opposite net.
I never did that transition, but I always thought it would be interesting to be going from that all the way back to.
Exactly, there's a bomb over top of the crossbar. And it's not something that you consider in a sport like hockey, where you have goaltenders, obviously, but it's a little more commonplace at the high school level in soccer.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I've had actually quite a few friends who were goalkeepers that they did have that eye to be up top as a forward, because they know exactly how to beat the keeper, because they know what works versus them. So sometimes it's really to the advantage. So maybe she'll be coming in to score one for her team.
That's a great point. Yeah, if you're a really good goalie and a really good goal scorer, that puts the coach in a tough spot. What do you
Yeah,
choose?
exactly.
Contact. Foul on Cubes. Coon Rapids hanging really tough right now, 23 minutes into this game.
And that's something that I was going to say. If Coon Rapids can come into halftime with this 0-0 game, I would say that's a huge accomplishment for them, coming off of last year's deficit by 7. So we'll see how this one rolls out.
Line drive, pulled to the left of the net. Centennial, coached by Krista Carlson now. She was already the coaching director for the Centennial Soccer Club. She's a White Bear Lake alum and South Dakota State. Professional soccer player in New Zealand as well. A lot of good experience. Interception and a shot. Good save by Metz on Knobloch, who's been all over the place in this first half. Corner kick coming. Knobloch almost breaks the tie.
And that's exciting. She's one of the players that I wanted to bring up earlier. She doesn't have that many goals for her stats last season. However, the shots on goal that she had last season was a big number, and you see how dangerous that can be.
Knobloch again puts it into trouble, but it's going to be cleared by Centennial. Knobloch coming close, and Metz with a big moment early in this game. Now the Cougars look to answer. Van Zee, through ball to Bordson. Bordson gets there first and just missed again. Curling wide of the left post. Bordson with her speed down the right side.
Great decision to hit that one. First touch, trying to keep the keeper not sure what she's doing, striking early.
Little too much spin on the ball, kept it out. Dynamic response there by Centennial after they nearly go behind. Still 0-0. Kostick to Griffith. Sipe surrounds it, and it winds up behind everybody. Lauinger back for Metz. Lauinger to the middle, dangerous pass, intercepted by Force. Sarah Force. All over Cubes there on the sideline. And wiggling out of trouble there is Centennial. Still up for grabs. And picked off by the Cardinals. Brooke Griffith. Centering feed at the foot of Cubes. Twisted in by Knobloch, and Metz the catch.
And again, now we're seeing what that looks like for Knobloch, having those shots on goal. Now she's had a couple in this game. Yes, they haven't found their way, of course, past the keeper, but now testing Metz and gonna have to keep her on her toes.
Cougars have done their best work in transition. Can they do it again? Isabella Sipe. Sipe the pass. Sipe gets it back, short side, and nearly snuck it past Payne, who's been busy and perfect here in this first half.
Yeah, we've seen Centennial trying to respond to a couple of those shot opportunities and those put on net here from Coon Rapids. You've seen them pick up some of the pace in this game after those happen, and that's exactly what Krista Carlson needs from her team, that ability to respond, and we've seen that here from the Cougars.
And for the Cardinals, it's going to be about getting back defensively, as again they face pressure. Centering pass intercepted and punched away, and now Coon Rapids trying to get going. They've got Rouse streaking downfield. She would have been offsides though, and some contact along the sideline. Ball goes to the Cardinals. $7-0 last year when these teams met. It was 3-0 at halftime. Kaya Harper had 2 goals. Lindsey Wilson had 2 goals. None of the players that scored in that game for Centennial are around this year. They graduated 10 seniors. So it is a new look team trying to find its footing. There's a pass by Kepke that slithers all the way past the end line. Goal kick.
Yeah, Lauren Allis had 2 of the assists in that game, and so tonight she might have to be the one to step up and put one in the net of her own. But you think about also, she did score against a Coon Rapids team in 2018, so she knows what it takes to get it past them. But of course, now it's been a little bit of time. They're different teams this year, and which player is going to be able to step up and make it happen?
Bordson passes off right side. Now on the back door. Trying to get control are the Cougars.
That was big. The defensive position there for Coon Rapids, being able to not make it easy for them on that weak side as the ball comes across. Definitely probably saved a shot opportunity on net.
And that was Ava Kerr doing the good work. There's a ball off the flag. And it goes to Coon Rapids deep in their own end. 11 minutes left in this scoreless first half. Season opener, conference opener between two section rivals. 3 classes this year, Blythe. They go from 2 classes to 3 classes, so it's the all-new Section 7 3A. A change that's been made not just in girls soccer, but in some other sports as well.
Yeah, and this is that moment where you start to know what your team's made of here early. You've only had practices, just those, you know, early moments in the year, and now you actually have this game situation. And those teams that are able to make something happen when it counts are the teams that are going to move forward this year.
That last shot came from Madeline Skalicki, the junior. She is freshly into the game. Sight to Skalicki. Brooklyn Bordson. Through ball. Payne races out to play it, cutting off Sarah Strating.
Yeah, keep doing a great job making sure that they were able to get out on that ball. That would have been an easy one if I was the keeper. I definitely would never have played keeper. Those situations are tough. That player almost there to kick it right into her face, so she's having to lay out for it. But definitely making the decision that she needed to come out because that runner was there.
And they almost always make the right decision. It's amazing how good their instincts are at this high level. Pass by Sipe, picked up by Coon Rapids' Izzy Allen. Sarah Force, the junior outside mid, generates a throw for Coon Rapids just by their bench. Just over 9 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, we've got some awesome last names here, you know. Bringing some force, we got some pain. There's just love when teams help us out up here.
I love it.
Addison Wittenberg's on for Centennial.
Toss in by Centennial. Ricochets along the sideline. Skalicki in some open space to Bordson. Bordson's played every minute here in this first half, has done good work. That'll leak out. And now Wittenberg to throw it in. Addison Wittenberg, a freshman.
And as I was talking about earlier in this game, just these players for Centennial really trying to earn their spots, having that new coach. I remember when I had a coach transition from my freshman year of college to my sophomore year. My freshman year, I'd started every game, and sophomore year, it's that clean slate. What are you going to do to be able to prove to the coach that didn't see you play last year that you're meant to be there? And so going through that, just mentally what that took also to be like, okay, she doesn't know me. I got to prove to her that step up, make it count, and this is their first time in a game situation they can show her what they can do.
Blistering shot by Aulis. That fades wide, left post. Aulis, the senior. Might be a tough choice here, Blythe, if these coaches wanted to make goaltending changes. Both goaltenders have been good.
That's very true.
And this game is very much up for grabs.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sam, because both of them telling us at halftime that that was very possible for them. And so we'll have to see if they go against what they told us now after seeing them in these early minutes.
Yeah, like you pointed out earlier, Blythe, if Coon Rapids can get to halftime either tied or leading, the confidence boost that could provide would be huge going into the second half.
Yeah, and then you also think if you're Centennial, what that looks like for you and how you've known that you've been able to score on these guys in years past. That one just over the crossbar, but you see Centennial still working. They're getting those shots off. They've been able to prove that they've had more of those opportunities in the final third. But again, when you're not netting one, that's really what it comes down to. You see so many games come down to just that 1-0 and really could just be on a breakaway the other way. Everyone's forward, and it wasn't the team that had all the possession throughout the game. This one, we've seen some attack from Coon Rapids, so it wouldn't necessarily have to be on a breakaway. It could just be on a build up the field.
Sight passing to Skalicki. Fed on to Hamsky. And skipped out of there by the Cardinals. Sipe. Now Aulis. Sipe again in the 18-yard box. Back to her left. Sipe, fancy footwork. And the Cardinals will avert another crisis, getting the ball out of harm's way.
Throw in for Centennial.
Rain has stopped. Sun is out. Good conditions again here. Latter stages of the first half. Turning to it with the left foot and missing wide is Van Zee, who's made some bids here in the first half.
And again, a good decision by her, making sure that she gets that one off. And I don't think that the keeper would have been able to predict that necessarily. She's going to have to react right when she hit it because it wasn't an obvious time that she would hit it. You'd think that she's going to probably take a couple more touches maybe before she put that shot out there. But, of course, keeper being able to do what she's done all game.
Impressive stuff from the senior Payne. Centennial and Coon Rapids locked in a 0-0 draw at the moment. Skalicki to Hamsky. Back for Lauinger.
And again, we got to bring up just the possession piece here from Centennial. We're seeing them tick off some time on the clock with this build up the field. Definitely more so than Coon Rapids has done, just keeping that time and now trying to get it up there in the final third.
Aulis with the pass to Strating just in front of the line. Offside Centennial. Beautiful ball though from Aulis.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do like to see if you're Coach Krista Carlson. Just those ability, the players' ability to see that, the vision, to be able to know they're going to build on that throughout the season. Sure, maybe they're not connecting completely. It's the first game of the season. So what does it look like? Hey, we have that idea. Our runner's on the same page. Is Aulis going to feed her up? And knowing she had 13 assists last year, it's not a surprise when you see balls like that.
Yeah, a couple times Strating has been teed up with some great passes from right wing to left. But Centennial, despite all of their offensive action, unable to get anything past Bailey Payne. 3.5 minutes to go in the first half.
And why a lot of times that works is because you're opening up the field. The defense is going to have to swing so far if you're all the way on this side and you're crossing that ball. And so opening up the field, the keeper also has to change directions of where they think the ball is going to be coming from, that angle. But
Cubes to Strating. Well. Strating in. Strating denied by Payne on the doorstep. Be interesting to see that one again. Sipe was also streaking down the right side. I wonder if Sipe would have been open for the tap in. Let's take a look.
Couple players in the box, but still definitely that bouncing ball. Anything can happen.
Oh, it gets behind Payne and Centennial breaks the tie. Aulis
for Coon Rapids. Just how close, like we said, to halftime this one comes, but for Centennial, how exciting to finally break one into the back of the net.
Lauren Aulis on the ricochet. First goal of the season at the 38th minute mark. And here it is again, a little dose of serendipity. The deflection, the double deflection. Maybe even an own goal there off of force, but Aulis will get credit. Unassisted. And 1-0 to score, trying to make it 2. They do! The Cougars strike again.
Oh my goodness, and that's what you see sometimes, just the floodgates start to open. Once they're able to find that first one, the floodgates are open now.
Addison Van Zee scores. A great shot. Left foot. Inside the right post. Twice in a minute they strike. And that's Mets having to make a play on it with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
And now if you're Coach Karen, it's just a tough thing to see your team break down in that minute, knowing how well they played throughout that first half to keep that 0-0 score, and to let 2 go by you here in just under a minute is hard to take, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say at halftime.
Yeah, sometimes giving up that first goal can lead to that mental letdown, right, Blythe? And it becomes 2 pretty quickly. And that's kind of what happened there. Both those goals in the 38th minute.
Yeah, my coach in college always would say it's those next 5 to 10 minutes. What does that look like? How do you respond?
Strating wants to make it 3. She does! Unreal! Floodgates wide open.
Centennial not letting up. Once they made that door open up just a smidge, they made sure they blew it all the way open. 3-0 our score now, and holy cow, Centennial wanting to make sure they prove that they deserve to be up there.
A great strike by Strating. Runs by Ritsanaya. Cuts it back. Another left-footed finish. From 0-0 to 3-0 in the blink of an eye, and this matches the margin at halftime last year when these teams met.
Like I said earlier, that is tough to swallow, and of course, trying to go to halftime, you definitely don't want to let anything else in. Just under 35 seconds now remain. And of course, you just want to make sure you get back to halftime, able to regroup, and make sure you keep this in as close of quarters as you can.
Feel bad for Coon Rapids for sure. 38 quality minutes, and even some scoring chances of their own to take a lead. But alas, a 3-0 deficit here in front of halftime. Final 10 seconds. One more bid for the Cougars. It is over, top, and in just before the buzzer. I believe Hamsky finished it off with 3 seconds to go.
Speechless,
Wow.
I think is what the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I can't believe this in the last couple minutes, what we've seen.
They nearly scored on the original kick, and it was Hamsky.
Off the head.
As we hit halftime, 4-0. Aulis, Van Zee, Strating, and Hamsky. Log goals. Big smiles on the bench after some frustration early. Centennial breaks through in a big way. A 4-0 halftime lead. We'll pause at halftime on CTN.
I used to drive an ambulance as an EMT, and I've always tried to be a safe driver. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. In my car, if I see a truck or bus taking a turn, I know to take my time. When big vehicles turn right, they may swing wide to make the turn. If you try to sneak in, well, it's a lesson you'd rather not learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait. It's our roads, it's our safety.
Welcome back to Centennial. Second half action about to get underway. Quick correction to make. The perceived goal scored just before halftime. Not in fact a goal. Optical illusion up here in the booth. One official called it a goal. Another waved it off. The ball snuck over the crossbar and trickled down the back of the net, so no goal for Ali Hamsky. Nonetheless, Centennial a 3-0 lead, scoring 3 times in the final 3 minutes of the first half of play. Let's get to the first half highlights. And it was evenly matched, Blythe, for the first 37 and change. But then Centennial strikes. A little bit of a fluky goal, credited to Lauren Allis, but that opened the floodgates.
Yeah, she always runs through those balls, so no surprise to see her get on the board.
Addison Van Zee, less than a minute later, left-footed strike to make it 2.
Yeah, how exciting to see her find a net in this first game of the year.
And same spot on the field, another lefty strike. Strating, who was right around the net all half. She scores one to make it 3-0 Centennial at the break.
Yeah, she had some great speed going up that left side flank, and to see her get one to pay off that reward to actually making those runs time and time again always feels great as a forward. That's what I always, when you finally find that all those runs made a difference.
Quick break, and then second half action will commence. It's Sam Ekstrom, Blythe Whaley on CTN. Be right back.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. Today,
Centennial 3, Coon Rapids 0. 40 minutes of soccer to play. I'm Sam Ekstrom alongside Blythe Whaley. It's the girls' soccer season opener and the boys' game to follow. Centennial and Coon Rapids in the second half of this doubleheader. Centennial boys last season 8-4-2. Coon Rapids boys 2-6-4 in the COVID truncated season. We're looking forward to a full campaign this year in the robust Northwest Suburban Conference. Centennial last year and the girls' side, they were conference champions. A 10-1 conference mark. They were also section champions, winning Section 7, beating Blaine 2-0 for the section title. Coon Rapids was 10th last year in the conference standings at 3-7-1, and they were eliminated by Andover 1-0 in the first round of the playoffs. The teams take the field, they'll flip sides, and the second half about to get underway. And, Blythe, it looked like this was going to be, nip and tuck until the end. And suddenly Centennial has nearly an insurmountable lead here.
Yeah, it feels a lot different. Just a couple minutes in this game really to blame for that. And as we head to the second half, what it looks like for Coach Karen probably having that halftime talk, telling his ladies how proud he is of them for the majority of that first half and wanting to make sure he sees that again in the second half and to try to shake that off. It's the first game of the season. Yes, they had a couple-minute blunder there, but they're still in this game. Definitely a 3-0 game feels a lot better than 4-0.
So based on the kit number, looks like Payne is still in there for Coon Rapids. And we were wondering if they would make a goaltender switch. Have any intel on that, Blythe?
So I do believe that he said they were wearing the same kit. Or was that, do you remember? Was Centennial wearing the same kit? I'm trying to remember which coach told me that.
So Centennial has, based on jersey numbers, stuck with Jordan Metz.
And she told us that their other goalkeeper had some curly hair. So that was, I think, the one that said they had the same kit number. So I think you're right and correct saying that Coon Rapids did stick with their keeper.
And even though 3 goals given up there at the end, I still think you look back at the first half and you're happy with what Payne provided for you if you're Coon Rapids. And it's a pretty uplifting performance since you're going to probably lean on her a lot all year. Overrunning that was Malia Bilby and cleared out by Coon Rapids. So as far as we know, it's Payne and Metz remaining in goal. I think Krista Carlson wanted to get a glimpse of what Metz was going to look like, and clearly she liked it well enough to stick with her. Here in this second half, Centennial moves right to left in their home reds, and they'll have a throw very near the flag.
And I think that's a good decision oftentimes, trying to make sure early on in the season you give your keeper those reps and what that looks like in game situations.
Bortson hit that one off the toe, and it'll be a goal kick. Last year, when these teams met 3-0 at halftime, it turned into 7-0 for Centennial. This is Centennial's only home game until September 11th. They have 4 straight on the road after this, so trying to notch a win to start their season.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be tough being on the road. I remember liking road games, getting to get on the bus with your teammates, and makes an even bigger experience.
Van Zee clips the outside of the post, and it caroms away. Another goal kick. That's launched down the middle. Back in the possession of Bordson. Ollis, who scored the game's opening goal. Now Hamsky. Received back by Brooklyn Bordson.
We're seeing that possession that Centennial is so good at, just keeping the possession through the middle of the field until, of course, now being taken down.
Foul on Coon Rapids. We'll have a set piece from about 30 yards away.
And this is a dangerous one. You start to get in closer to now when these ladies can put it on net. We're probably going to see her take an opportunity, putting it on Payne back there. However, I also noted just how tricky the Centennial team has been in years past with some of these set pieces, so possibly feeding it off to someone to also have a shot from a different angle. Nope.
Ollis scores it herself. A blast by Ollis, gets by the keeper, and that is number 4 for Centennial, number 2 for Lauren Ollis. Wow, that was a bullet.
So we talked about her first goal in this game and maybe just how she just kind of had to have her body, or we weren't sure if it ticked off her or somebody else, but she's getting credited with the goal. She wanted to make sure we knew she is a goal scoring force, and wow, that shot certainly did that.
Well, and on that almost goal before the end of the half, she almost scored from about 40 yards away. That
True.
one from about 30 yards away, where she got a little lower trajectory, a little more velocity, and she makes it 4-0 Centennial in the 45th minute. So that's 4 goals in 7 minutes of game time. Kepke lets it fly.
And if you're Coon Rapids, you have to shake this off. It's still the first game of the season. What does it look like just to pull together and find the back of the net on your own? No matter what the score is, you want to make sure that you're finding the back of the net. How's that going to serve you as the season rolls forward?
Force. Did she get a touch there to create the corner? I believe she did. Well, this is as tough a game as you can draw for the opener if you're Coon Rapids, the defending conference champion, a team that over the last 3 years, and you can go back further and further. They're good every year, but their 3-year record is 45-8.
Wow, yeah.
They are not really ever weak as a program. Line drive into the box. That's poked up and caught by Metz. Just wondering out loud if that isn't Kari Reiner's, or rather Maddie Reinhardt, in net for Coon Rapids, because she's been giving the goal kicks to Kepke, which I don't believe Payne did. Not 100% sure on that, though. We'll try to get clarification. We'll see if we see Payne out on the field.
Yeah, true. That could be our.
That might be the tell. I believe number 14 is her field number. Sometimes we fly by the seat of our pants, especially in the early season when there's not as much information distributed. As Centennial moves it from right to left. Alice, 2 goals in the game, distributes that one for Belby, but she's unable to hang on along the sideline. Wind right now at the back of the Cougars. That might have aided that set piece goal by Alice. Cubes. And here is a goaltender switch.
Now it comes. Yeah, exactly. She told us it was coming.
This will be Gabrielle Corcoran. Junior goaltender, wears the number 99. So almost 48 minutes of work for Metz. Centennial with a healthy lead of 4-0.
And I think if you're a new coach, you're coming into the program, sure, you've seen these keepers, again, in practice and what they can do. I've just, throughout my time playing, there's so many players also that you will see just step up to that next level when it becomes a game. They can show you so much in practice, even though you want them to be able to show you everything. They're able to do just a little bit more when they have that pressure on them. And so it's definitely healthy for her to put her in net, see what it looks like, give them both that shot in this first game of the year.
Force passing to midfield, picked up by Hamsky. Bordson with it. Bordson slips one for Wittenberg. And that goes past the end line for a goal kick. And Kepke will take it again. Coon Rapids stays on the road after this. They've got 4 consecutive road games to start their year. September 9th against Anoka, their home opener. Centennial with Alice wanting that hat trick, separated from the ball. Poked away by Ritsanaya. Kept by Bordson. Knobloch. Cougars keeping on the offensive end. Left-footed punch, too tall, taken by Marissa Frost.
Something I was thinking about before this game was just, just on a mascot versus mascot basis. The Cougars had the upper hand in this one, coming against the Cardinal, but.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. Yeah, the Cougars have had the better of the Cardinals now for a while.
And as you were talking about what the Cardinals are going to have in these next few games in the beginning of the year, they're taking on Andover, and that's who they lost to in that section final last game of their season, or section game last of their season, though, last year. And so having them just in that 3rd game of the year, it's going to also be trying, and of course probably put them just on that next level, wanting to beat them too, knowing they just ended their year last year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think the goal for Coon Rapids can still be to get on the board and keep doing some good things offensively here. A lot of game left, half an hour of soccer to be played. Back for the keeper and distributed to the right sideline. Griffith. Terabeza turned over to Bordson. Alice tries to work it north and south. Pass intercepted. Kepke the other way. Lines up with Hamsky at midfield. And now the senior Bordson. 2 goals for Alice, 1 for Van Zee, 1 for Strating. And Centennial trying to start the season 1-0. Alice, crossbar. What a bid amidst 3 Cardinals or so. Corner of the box, nearly scored another.
And you see the leadership by her. She's showing that by example tonight, making sure she's getting in there, taking those opportunities, and that's what you need in that upperclassman.
How does she even get that one off? Sniping one off the metal. Couple close calls for Alice in addition to her 2 goals. A big night for her. 7 goals, 13 assists last year. Many of those going to Ira Harper. Ordson's shot blocked.
Yeah, and when you have a player like Kai Harper on your team, definitely helps you get those assists up there. Certainly you have to be putting that ball in the right position to let her run onto that or get her in front of net, but it definitely helps. Now this year, she's gonna have to look to what is that gonna be the difference for her to be really looking at the net herself, because she doesn't have that person that's just gonna find the back of the net without being able to even look at it. Kai Harper, I feel like, could just find the net wherever it was with her eyes closed. But for her this year, I'm excited. She's shown us just how aggressive she can really be in that final third when she needs to be.
Yeah, I asked Chris Carlson before the game, I said, who replaces Kai Harper? Is it one person or is it several? And she insinuated that it was several. It's not going to be one person. That's too big of a role to fill. But I think we're seeing that Lauren Alice can certainly put a big dent into that goal total.
And it only makes a team stronger if it isn't just the one person. And you've seen Centennial, of course, a lot of these scorers today, you know, coming from different people. Alice, sure, getting 2 of them, but you still see that spread. It's not just going to be her finding the net. They do have other players that can find it as well, and that only makes Centennial a stronger team this year.
And I think we've seen enough from Bordson to believe that she's going to be a scorer, even though she doesn't have one yet. We're going to see some from Sipe, who was a sub there in the first half, and she was awfully good. Marissa Frost had some good chances. Sydney Cube. So I think we're seeing the makings of another tough Cougars team. They are reloading once again.
Yeah, and talking to Krista Carlson also before the game, just about what does that look like?
Bordson, crossbar again. And that'll wind up on the near side.
Almost on cue with you talking about just how tough she is to defend.
Yeah, and she's got it back. Bordson has been swirling around the goal. If you recall, in the first half, she had a couple tough shots. She was kind of running full speed and shot it at a shallow angle that just missed the far post. That one a little more dead on. Left-footed bid blocked by Kepke and out of bounds.
Yeah, but to follow up on that point, I'm talking with Coach Krista Carlson just about what does that look like to fill Ginger Flohog's shoes. She's built this team over the last 20 years and what she's added to this program. And she was saying, these girls already know.
Great save there.
Definitely Coon Rapids having to be on their toes throughout this game. Centennial can find the net.
Centennial's gotten stronger as the game's gone on. Sipe rolling one wide. Just over 24 minutes remaining. Here's the post. Pilby, or rather the save with the left hand. Had a lot of close calls in the last few minutes. Pilby again on net.
And like you said, Centennial really finding themselves throughout this game, and that only looks good as they forge into these next few games on their schedule. And for Coach Krista Carlson, you know, she sees what that looks like. How do we get our team ready to play right from the get-go? I think that's going to be something for Centennial. How can we have had those goals earlier on when you're playing some teams even stronger caliber than this Coon Rapids team? That's going to be that difference maker in maybe a 1-0 game.
Bordson tries again, and she's denied again. Centennial has Blaine next, and that's a huge game. Blaine's a team that they went toe-to-toe with in the section final. It's a team that finished 8-4-2 last year. So that one is circled, and you know, the other big one, which doesn't pop up until later in the season, but Champlin Park. Champlin Park is the only team that beat them a year ago by a 3-2 score here on this field. So there are still some other threats in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Crosser all the way through, and Brooke Griffith will try to speed the other way. Touched it too far in front of her foot, and Centennial will get it back. I'm seeing some signs of fatigue here, Blythe.
Yeah, I was seeing too.
From Coon Rapids. It's a lot of time defending, a lot of time backpedaling, and I think it might be tilting more heavily in Centennial's way.
Yeah, Centennial keeping the possession here, working that around, and that can be tough if you're Coon Rapids. You certainly want to make sure you can get back on the attack just to let your defense have a break. Of course, that's when that fatigue is going to set in that back line and result in a goal, and so you want to make sure you help them out, take some of the time away from them that they can rest, recover to have it coming right back at them.
Sipe, nice move, good shot, slips under the goaltender. That should be a corner kick.
Corner kick for the Cougars.
Cougars corner from the near side. And it will be their set piece specialist, Lauren Allis. Smothered that one to the far side of the field. Held in the box, Sipe with the touch toward the net. Settled down by Cubes. Errant pass knocked away by Langworthy. Back in the possession of Munson. Bordson twisting to the middle. Allis off to her right. Given away to Knobloch.
And I am surprised that Centennial really hasn't shown us any tricky set pieces for the ones we've seen.
Another crossbar. That's 3 in this half alone.
Yeah, you imagine if any of those 3 would have ticked in. Again, this game got out of hand in just a couple minutes in that first half. Now we've seen it happen again, but 3 crossbars. This game could have been a lot different than it even is right now.
You can think of a couple more that kind of glanced off of it too. I mean, it's been pretty relentless. Amazingly, Coon Rapids had a chance to take the lead pretty late in the first half. They had a shot that Metz sprawled out to save. And then for another 15 minutes, it remained tied until Allis broke that tie. And we've got a goaltender change. So presumably this would be Maddie Reinhardt. She'll get the final quarter of the game. We wondered, we weren't sure if if they'd made that switch yet, and it is the same number 0 in green. Here come the Cardinals. Onside is Rao. And stripped away by Littlefield. Weather update, getting a little more foreboding out there. Hate to say it.
Oh no, oh no.
The clouds have darkened, and the Circle Pines forecast calling for some inclement weather. So look out for the boys' game. We should complete this girls' game without much issue. Obviously, if lightning gets involved, then it does become a problem. Bilby. Oh, and Reinhardt slams against the post. And she gets welcomed to the game pretty rudely. She does keep that one out. Probably could have let it go for a goal kick. Instead, it'll be a corner.
But like you said, that being just those first few seconds she's in this game, wanting to make sure she doesn't make any mistakes just in that transition. So I guess I'd probably make a similar decision, maybe just to make sure it's out and not hope that it's out. And so resulting in this corner.
That's a good call. Bordson will get the corner. Lets it fly. Low kick, popped straight up. Sipe underneath it. Swing and a miss by Sipe. Skalicki settles it down, drops it back. A lot of clean possession here for the Cougars. There's a quick shot. Skalicki again, deflects up and in the arms of Reinhardt. The senior goaltender. Sipe nudged over to Bordson.
You see how good this first touch is by Centennial. Again, of course, aiding to how they're able to keep possession, but not every team has a first touch like they do. And you see how well it helps them move this ball.
Yeah, rarely is their foot touching the ball more than once, except right here as Bordson tries to make up some ground. But quick decisions on every pass. There's a Cardinal shaken up. Corner kick to ensue here. That was Knobloch, got roughed up a bit. I think she's all right.
Yeah, and you even think of a first touch also as just how cleanly their touches, how soft it is. It's just put in front of them, because you do see, depending on, you know, what level team you're watching, just how far that ball can bounce off of somebody's foot. And not every team has just that cushion. It seems like when it hits their foot, it's like, oh, it's just exactly where they need it to be to make that next touch.
Van Zee lobs it in. Knocked down, Reinhardt dives, gets it out of harm's way. And the Cardinal clearance. Centennial looking for its 8th straight shutout in this rivalry. That leaks out off of Hamsky. Coon Rapids with a winnable game coming up next against Park Center, who did not win a game last year. Last year, Coon Rapids beat Andover, Spring Lake Park, and Osseo before losing to Andover in the playoffs. And these two teams sort of mirrored each other. And at Centennial, in their last 4 games of the year, they didn't allow anybody to score. And in Coon Rapids' last 4 games of the year, they did not score a goal. Just finding that offensive rhythm, so important this year for the Cardinals. And it'll come with experience. I think we've seen some good signs from them too, Blythe. I mean, Centennial's obviously capitalized more, but we've seen some nice effort from the Cardinals as well.
Yeah, and just the growth maybe from between these 2 years. Last time, of course, this team being down by 7 at the final. And now, they're sitting 4-0. If they can continue to hold this, we saw how long they were able to hold that 0-0 score in the first half. And it's possible that this could be that final score as we hit the end of the game. Still a lot of time on the clock.
Good run there by Ritsanaya, but she got upended. Cougars with some space and some pace. It's Strating. Turning a corner is Bilby. It's knocked out of bounds.
Lead players throwing Cougars.
Yep, continually though impressed Centennial, only giving up 9 goals last year, and so that's something for them to try to hold down and see what they can do this season. If they're able to keep that and maybe make it even less, who knows? It's so early in the season, but definitely a goal, I'm sure, of theirs to try to keep it under that mark as well.
Knocked away by Reinhardt. Still in play. Kostick up the sideline. Spinning away with it is Hamsky. That's off of Sipe. Strating, missing the left post wide. We'll have a substitution here for Coon Rapids.
Strating needed just a little bit of a straighter kick towards net there.
I see what you did there.
But it's true, just seeing keeper was already kind of going that way, possibly if it would have been almost in the center of the net. She might have been trying to cheat it, thinking she was going that way.
Grace Stevenson entering for Coon Rapids. 12 minutes left. Strating again. Slipped one through. Couldn't connect with Bilby, and it's out of bounds. Thrown in by Munson. Van Zee back to get it. So the debut for Krista Carlson looks like it will be a successful one.
Yeah, I'm sure she was a little nervous in that first half, seeing that it was 0-0 until those final few minutes. Knowing what the team did last year, it adds a little bit of pressure on seeing a score that's like that and the team not finding the back of the net. But I'm sure now, feeling calm, cool, and excited for what this season has in store.
Back deep to play it, Hamsky for Corcoran. Carlson not getting a ton of look at Corcoran here. Coon Rapids hasn't provided a lot of chances for her as Strating. Bilby is cut off. Remains with the Cougars. McKenna Munson gets it back along the sideline. Strating. Knocked away there by Wynn. Lucy Wynn making an appearance for Coon Rapids. The senior McKenna Munson. Bilby along the sideline. Ava Kerr unable to corral it for Coon Rapids. Under 10 minutes to go. Wynn racing to get it, unable to. First game of the year it's sometimes hard to find those legs for 80 minutes. Being in practice shape and game shape can be two different things.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking about earlier, it's just that next level. You can go as hard as you think you're going in practice, and then it gets on that game stage and you're mentally in that next challenge and how much more you want to win. So I definitely can concur with that, where it felt a little different when I got to the game. I was like, okay. But also it can make you not think about it as much because you want, to be playing as much as you can too. You don't want to have to go out.
Maybe a chance for Stevenson. Grace Stevenson. Dropped for care. Wynn pops it up in the air. Settled by Izzy Allen. And it'll be thrown in. It was actually Knobloch who had that last touch. We have substitutions on both sides, including 3 new Cardinals coming in the game. Bailey Rao, Sophia Del Frat among them. Only 1 goal here in the second half by Lauren Aulis, her second of the game. 3 crossbars clipped along the way.
Yeah, and that's something different from this Centennial team last year, having more goals in that second half for them than they did in the first. Centennial netting 30 in the first half and 45 in the second half on the season. And so now this game shows a little bit different, getting the job done just very late in the first half.
They bunched them together with 3 goals in less than 2 minutes. Alice Van Zee and Strating. Mass substitutions now with 4 new Cougars, it appears. And 7 minutes to go. Loose ball, middle of the field. Centennial trying to warm up that attack one more time. Sometimes when your teammates see all the posts being hit, it can be contagious. Everybody wants a piece of that.
Yeah, it certainly helps the momentum. You start to see, hey, we can get in that final third. Hey, we are able to get it on net. Now let's make it count. Find its way to the back of the net.
Second time tonight we've had rain come down. A little off and on after a big storm mid-afternoon. Chipped away there by Coon Rapids. Emily Snicker stepped in front of. Back for Cubes. Past her. Possessed by Rao. And the rain intensifying, unfortunately. And we've got some folks headed for the exits as this game wanes into its final stages.
Yeah, it's always interesting to watch the fans. The ones that brought the umbrellas were prepared. They're sitting. Other ones trying to rush and figure out what they're doing.
Props to our sideline cam who brought the raincoat, got the camera covered in some plastic. That's just heads up preparation. First game of the season, but in mid-season form.
Exactly.
Yes.
You knew what was up. Those are the ones they watch the weather. I mean, also, like you said, we had a little hint of it earlier on today.
Nearly chance for Monson.
There were some people too that you could say it was a lot bigger of a hint than just that. But some people could have thought it was just done. It rained so much it can't happen again. And of course, we know better. We're in Minnesota. Weather can change in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, well, oddly, we're kind of due for it. It's been so dry.
True.
All summer that hopefully we're not going to pay for it here in the fall.
Yeah, exactly. We typically see a lot of that in the spring. Our spring sports suffering sometimes because of it, but
Yeah, and it is much easier to pull it off on artificial turf too, when the drainage is so much better, and you know, you couldn't really detect when you walked on the field pregame that there'd been a ton of rain earlier today. The field is in such good shape, and that's a good thing. And you know, the season is lengthened a bit this year from last year. It's back to sort of that 7-week regular season, and then a more traditional playoff format. Games will be back at US Bank Stadium for the championships. There will be more champions this year in the 3-class system. So just getting started in this girls soccer season. Number 6 Centennial up big with just over 3 minutes to go. Here's how the top 10 looks. You've got number 1 Edina. They're led by UNC commit Maddie Deline, who's one of the best players in the state. Stillwater, number 2, Rosemount from the South Suburban, clocking in 3rd. Then Wyzetta, you know, they'll go toe-to-toe with Edina all year long. And then you've got the 2 that we've talked about before, Champlain Park 5, Centennial 6. The 2 rivals, Champlain Park knocking off Centennial last year in the regular season, and Maple Grove in 9th. So 3 representatives from the Northwest Suburban in that top 10. White Bear Lake and Stillwater from the Suburban East. So East side versus west side a little bit toward the top of the rankings. 2:20 to go. Allis, or check that, Bordson passing off the flag and out. This boys game should be good, Blythe. These 2 teams tied a year ago, so evenly matched competition. Centennial had the better of Coon Rapids record-wise, but not quite the juggernaut of the girls' team, and I would expect a bit tighter of a battle.
yeah, and of course, you know, just like the girls, not being able to have the state tournament last year just adds that next level. Hey, you didn't get to have the end of the season you wanted. Let's start this season and make it what we can this year.
A chance for the Cardinals, and they score a goal against Centennial for the first time in 8 meetings. Grace Stevenson gets the job done, and that has to feel awesome.
Yeah, credit to the Cardinals sticking with that one. Stevenson not wanting to let this game end without finding her own goal here.
Beating Corcoran over top, and you saw the celebration there for Coon Rapids. That meant something to them.
And you see the trajectory on that ball, just perfect lofted ball up and over the keeper. It's exactly what she wanted to do, and she struck that ball.
Stevenson only a sophomore, I presume, and actually can confirm that's her first varsity goal. Good for her at the 78th minute mark of the game.
And it means just that much more, you know, knowing the opponent for them, like you said, the credit to her to get that first varsity goal versus such a powerful Centennial team.
Final minute, 4-1. So Coon Rapids tying Centennial after halftime. 1 goal apiece in the second half of play. Both goaltenders were switched partially through this second half. Stevenson got a foot to that one again. Taken down, and maybe a set piece here for the Cardinals in the final seconds. They'll have to backtrack though, and they'll line up for 1 good boot. Still about 50 yards from the net. Knobloch into the box, headed away toward the sideline. 8 seconds to go. And the Cougars will kick this one upfield and end it. They win comfortably by a 4-1 score. And they start Krista Carlson's coaching tenure with a W. Good game to kick off the season, Blythe.
Yeah, exactly. The Cougars getting the final result that they wanted. Maybe those first how many minutes of this game, not exactly the game that they wanted, but definitely to see this final result. They're looking forward to this season, that's for sure.
And there you saw Stevenson, who scored the goal to get Coon Rapids on the board. And just in a little bit, we'll have our full game highlights. But for Centennial next, it's at Blaine, a big game, as we mentioned. That's on the 28th, just 2 days from now. For Coon Rapids, it's Park Center on August 31st, next Tuesday. And then they'll stay on the road for Armstrong and Cambridge I-Santee. Next home game for Centennial in this facility, September 11th, against White Bear Lake. So some road tests for the Cougars coming up, 4 in a row on the road. Get to our second half highlights. Only 2 goals scored, but plenty more chances. There is the goal. It was Aulis on the set piece, twisting one over top of the goaltender Bailey Payne. And Stevenson, with less than 2 minutes to go, breaks up the shutouts, deposits it over Corcoran for a 4-1 final. And you wouldn't know it by the reaction. Her first goal as a varsity player. Well, if you're watching with us live here, we've got more soccer to come. Boys game to follow. Centennial and Coon Rapids, perhaps in the rain, trying to get their season started on a winning note as well. For Blythe Whaley, our entire crew, the guys outside braving the rain, I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for joining us for this soccer opener on CTN.